guys, it's Sami, and this is Pro Wrestling Unlimited. As well, tonight was Friday Night Smackdown. I thought the night Smackdown was a very, very good episode. I thought the show itself was really good. I enjoyed the entire thing. Like, the entire show was really, really good. And I'm watching it, and all of a sudden I'm like, oh, crap. This show's over. What the hell? I did not think that it was even close. This show went by so quickly. Like, it was I wouldn't say like a fast-paced show or anything, but the show flew so well. Like flew by. Well, what's the word I'm looking for? I can't think of the word now. The pacing of this show was just so good that it just, which is really good to see. Really, really, really good to see. Also, AEW just announced Casino Ladder Match taking place at All Out. That should be fun. No names announced yet, but the Casino Ladder Match will be taking place. I think last year they did the Casino Battle Royale at the pay-per-view. So this year they're doing the Casino Ladder Match. Correct me if I'm wrong, that's 6 people normally? 6 people in the... No. Yeah, it might be 6 people. They normally do for the Casino Ladder Match. But other than that, SmackDown, really good show. I thought it flowed well. I thought the pacing was really good. Good wrestling on the show. And even, the women's tag title match. The matches in this tournament have been subpar at best. But I thought tonight's was really good. I thought Toxic Attraction looked amazing. Like, keep them on SmackDown. They never need to go back to NXT. Keep them on the freaking main roster. JC Jane and Gigi Dolan, they've got the TV presence. They've got, like, the stage presence that's perfect for the main roster. They're good on camera. I mean, anybody can get better in the ring. I'm not saying they're perfect in the ring or anything by any means, but they looked really good tonight against Natalya and Sonya. Like, they looked better, in my opinion, than Natalya and Sonya. Because, in all actuality, and it happened again tonight, and I think I've said this in the past, a lot of times, Natty looks like she's just trying to remember spots. Like, there's spots, and she's just trying to remember those rehearsed spots, instead of actually just having a match that looks like a fluid, real type of fight or real match. You can tell when Natty does something in the ring, she's like, thinks about it, and then she kind of moves, gets herself in position, and then does it. Like, she overthinks things too much, and she was doing it again tonight. But that's just me observing her, what I noticed. I could be wrong, but that's just what I noticed. It seems like she tries too hard to remember moves, get herself in spots and in place, and then does the move or the spot. But with that, as far as tonight's show does go, it was really, really good. Before we get into that, I want to say thank you if you are watching live, twitch.tv/PW Unlimited. I also want to say thank you if you're watching or listening later, youtube.com/Pro Wrestling Unlimited or youtube.com/PW Unlimited, or on podcast services all around the globe like Stitcher, Spotify, Google Pod, Apple Pod, Anchor, iHeartRadio, and so much more. I also want to say thanks if you're watching live and helping us out, because you can help us out a couple of different ways. You can help us out by hitting that donate button down below, or by donating Twitch bits in the live chat. Also, remember, you can help us out by subscribing to the channel one of 2 different ways. You can either subscribe with a tiered subscription, or you can subscribe with Amazon Prime. And remember, it doesn't even have to be your Amazon Prime account. It can be anybody's Amazon Prime account. Whether that's your mother, your father, your brother, your sister, your grandma, your grandpa, your auntie, your uncle, anybody's Amazon Prime account. You can link it to your Twitch and then support us right here at no extra cost to you. Also, remember, if you're watching on YouTube, you can help us out over there by hitting that join button down below to become a channel member. As a channel member, you get early access to news, early access to podcast episodes, early access to non-news videos, and so much more. Also, remember, head over to the Epic Game Store. Head over to the Epic Game Store and buy something, whether that's a new game, whether that's an old game, whether you're claiming one of the free games or you're buying bucks for Rocket League, Fortnite, or Fall Guys. Head over there and use the creator code PW Unlimited at checkout. Remember, there's a new game, and it's called Rumbleverse. Rumbleverse is a mix between the Battle Royale style of Fortnite and professional wrestling. You get launched onto, I guess you could say, the map into the city, and periodically throughout the game, the city's shrinking on you. And the circle shrinks and shrinks and shrinks, and you got to use pro wrestling moves to knock out and eliminate your opponents, whether that's with a power bomb, a pile driver, a spear, or a super kick. You got to use your moves to eliminate your opponents. Rumbleverse is integrated with Epic Games technology, so that way you can support creators straight from the game's launcher. So whether you're buying something on the Epic Games Store or in an Epic Games launcher, use code PW Unlimited. Again, whether you're using the Epic Games Store or you're using the launcher for Fortnite, Rocket League, and Rumbleverse on the PlayStation, the Xbox, the Nintendo Switch, and so forth, use our code to support us at no extra cost to you. As we move forward, 1 second. Just tweeting out about that ladder match. All right, here we go. So the show itself kicks off with Pat McAfee and Michael Cole welcoming us to the 1200 edition of SmackDown. And Pat makes Michael Cole feel old. He goes, man, I was only 11 years old when you and Jim Cornette commentated that first episode of SmackDown in 1999. And Michael Cole goes, like, oh, way to make me feel old, Pat. All of a sudden, Ronda Rousey walks across the camera. Ronda gets in the ring and goes, all right, so last week I paid my fine. Unsuspend me. Let's go, Pierce. Unsuspend me. Bring me back. Let me be here. I know I'm still suspended. Unsuspend me. She's talking crap, and the crowd's chanting Ronda Rousey. And she's like, come on, I paid my fine already. Let's go, Pierce. Come on, Pierce. Unsuspend me. The fans were eating this up. And Pierce finally walks out with security to massive boos. Pierce pointed out that he couldn't just lift her suspension. He added that it's above his pay grade to do so. He asked her to leave the ring peacefully, but Rousey chose violence. The guards then got into the ring, but Rousey easily beat them all up. She locked on an armbar on one of the guards. Pierce then called out 2 police officers who would arrest Ronda Rousey. Fans again booed. In the back, they showed the officers placing Rousey in a cop car. The fans erupted in boos when they erupted in boos. Cop car pulls off. Black SUV shows up. Driver opens the door. Bada bing, bada boom. It's Roman Reigns all by himself. Roman all by himself. Remember that. That plays into a couple of things tonight. Roman being all by himself. Fans popped big for seeing the tribal chief. And they popped, like they popped when they opened the door and they showed it's Roman. He got out of the car and they popped again. We'll just fast forward a little bit. Later in the night, Michael Cole says Ronda Rousey has been released on her own merit and is no longer in the jail or in jail in possession of the police or whatever. She has been let go. And Pat goes, well, that's good. You don't want Ronda having to spend a full night in jail when you're in Canada or something like that. The show itself, as far as action does go, kicked off with a just shy of 10-minute tag team match in the Women's Tag Team Championship Tournament match. Toxic Attraction, Gigi Dolan and JC Jane against the team of Natalya and Sonya Deville. I already talked about this one, saying that I thought Toxic Attraction looked amazing. Sonya and Natty looked like Sonya and Natty. Just 2 women on the roster. That's all it did. They looked like 2 women on the roster. But Toxic Attraction, they looked very impressive. Toxic Attraction looked like they belonged on the main roster. Looked like they are better than the 2 women in the ring that they were with. And overall, just outshined anything we normally see from the women's division on SmackDown, to be completely honest. Well, most of anything we see from the women's division on SmackDown. So before the match begins, Bayley, Io Sky, and Dakota Kai would walk through the crowd, show they got tickets, and stand in the front row. They all high-fived Pat McAfee. Bayley, heckling Michael Cole throughout the match was phenomenal. Bayley and Michael Cole have a great working relationship, and it's phenomenal when you've got Bayley talking crap to Michael Cole, and Michael Cole like wanting to play back, but doing the whole, well, I'm an announcer, I gotta stay biased, I can't really play back, but I want to play back kind of thing. It's always a really good dynamic between the two. They always do it really well. It's something they started in the Thunderdome. I think Bayley started it because like she would hear Michael Cole say things about her as a heel, and she'd just be like, I can hear you. Shut up, Cole. Shut up, Michael Cole. It's always been good, and I'm so glad to see it again because we haven't seen it in over a year. So they showed a Toxic Attraction video package before the match began just to let us know who these two women are. Now, if you remember, this is not supposed to be Toxic Attraction. It's supposed to be Nikita Lyons and Zoe Stark. Now, we don't know exactly what necessitated the change, but we do know that Nikita Lyons never traveled to Canada. She never traveled to Montreal. She was never there at all. I don't know about Zoe, but it was reported by multiple sources and told to me directly, Nikita Lyons not there. Because I was told yesterday by a source, hey, Gigi and JC are going to be at Smackdown Friday. They've flown into Canada. They've flown into Montreal. And I'm like, wait, what? Why? And this is what I assumed a possible change for this match. But I was told yesterday, and I kind of hinted this in a tweet, and I was like, Toxic Attraction to Smackdown, question mark? And everyone's like, what? In the draft or immediately? Tomorrow or in a couple of weeks? And because I wasn't told outright that they were going to be on SmackDown, I was just told that they were flying in for SmackDown. I never like confirmed 100% because I didn't know 100%, but I was given some indication that they would be there. And that's why I sent out that tweet yesterday. So Sonya, early on, spears Gigi Dolan to take the early advantage. She tried to pin her, but only got a near fall. Deville and Dolan then, they screwed up a Hurricane Rana spot, but I didn't say this match was perfect. The match briefly kind of halted for a second, and then it all came back together. JC Jane tagged in and rocked Deville with a knee. She then hit a cannonball on Toxic Attraction, and Toxic Attraction. Sonya then hit a cannonball on Toxic Attraction, and Toxic Attraction worked together to take out Natty at one point. After a commercial break, Toxic Attraction was firmly in control. Jane hit another cannonball in the corner for a 2 count. Deville then fought back, and Natalya got a hot tag. The fans popped big for Natalya as they were, well, in Canada. You know, Natty in Canada. Now, Jordan says, Zoe is injured. That's why we don't know that for sure, though. We don't know that 100%, hence why I didn't say it. Because it's not been confirmed, nor reported. Just people watching the show on Wednesday or Tuesday saying, it looked like Zoe got hurt. It looked like Zoe got hurt. But no one has reported that, and no one has outright said that. So that's why I didn't say it. Because we don't know. It could be the case. She could have got hurt on NXT this week, Zoe Stark. But we don't know that for sure, hence why no one's reported it. Anyways, Natalya ran wild and hit a German suplex on Jane. Natalya went for the sharpshooter, but Jane broke free. Toxic Attraction then took back over. Jane and Deville fought in front of Bayley and Sky at one point, and it was weird. Right before this, so it's JC Jane and Sonya Deville in the ring, and Gigi jumps up on the apron, and Sonya elbows her off the side of the ring, off the apron. She then goes to run out of the corner, and all of a sudden, like her right leg, I think it was, gives out, and she collapses. And then she crawls over to tag Natty. And I think she barely... No, so this is before when Natty got the hot tag. Sonya kind of... I don't know what happened here, but Sonya was running out of the corner, took 2 steps, and collapsed. This was before Natty's hot tag, so I got a couple of things out of order here. But I don't know what happened there with Sonya because she worked the rest of the match. She kind of looked like she was limping a little throughout the rest of the match, but that could have been selling because it didn't look like a real limp. It kind of just looked like I'm limping on this leg at one point. Oh, I'm limping on the other. Nope, I got to limp on the other, you know? So it was just a weird spot where Sonya ran out of the corner, took about 2 steps and then collapsed and then just crawled over to Natalya. Jordan says Shawn Michaels announced it earlier today. So Shawn said Zoe Stark was hurt because I didn't see that video. Like I was actually, let's see, hold on. We're going to look this up really fast. Is Zoe Stark actually hurt? Okay, so yes, Zoe Stark did tweet out the following quote. I'm down, but not out. I'm looking forward to getting another opportunity sometime in the future. Exactly what Nikita said. Everything happens for a reason. So hold on. I'm going to watch what Shawn said here for a second. What does Shawn Michaels say? Hold on. So Shawn says, I want to thank everybody for making Heatwave a success. There was a setback. Okay, so I just didn't see that video. And I will admit that I overlooked it. I saw the announcement tweet, but didn't watch the video. That's wrong on my part. Not watching the video. That's wrong on my part. So she did suffer an injury, but it doesn't seem like, by the way she was tweeting, doesn't seem like as bad maybe as her last injury that kept her out for basically a year. But again, I do want to apologize. I saw the tweet, read the tweet, but never watched the video. That's wrong on me. That's completely wrong on me. Back to the match. So Sonya and JC are fighting in front of Bayley, and Bayley's yelling at Sonya, who's getting her ass beat, going, hey, maybe you should have just stayed as a GM. He's heckling her. And then JC boots Sonya right in the face. The finish of the match then came when Natalya got the sharpshooter on Dolan, but Jane made the blind tag that Natty didn't see. She then rolls up Natty and picks up the victory. So, Toxic Attraction does come out victorious, and they said it next week we'll face Raquel and Aaliyah in a second round match. I think Toxic Attraction should go to the finals. Honestly, I think Toxic Attraction should. Now, I don't know what the original plan for this tournament was. Excuse me. But I think you make a pivot. Now, maybe Nikita and Zoe were always supposed to win the tag titles. But if they weren't, I say you pivot and put it on Toxic Attraction. I'm going to say that right now. You pivot, put those titles in Toxic Attraction. Because I think they're the best. And not just because, well, they've been a team for basically longer than any other team in this tournament. Because I'm pulling up the brackets right here so we can look at them. But not only have they been, a team longer than any other team in this tournament, but I just think they're better than any other team in this tournament. But if we look at the brackets right here, these are the current brackets for the women's tag team tournament. We've got Raquel and Aaliyah to face Gigi Dolan and JC Jane. We also have Io Sky and Dakota Kai taking on Alexa Bliss and Asuka. And so looking at this, we can confirm, they haven't said when the finals are, but the finals cannot be at Clash at the Castle. Because on the Raw side of things, all four of the women that potentially could make the finals are in a 6-woman tag at Clash at the Castle. So we know the finals will not be taking place at Clash at the Castle. But I say the finals should be Io and Dakota against Gigi and JC. Either of those teams winning the tag titles, I'd be fine with. But if I was booking it, if it was my decision, I just punched my microphone, I would say, let's go with Toxic Attraction. I would say put them tag titles on Toxic Attraction. They really showed up tonight on SmackDown, made the most of that opportunity being on the show, getting added to this tournament. And they impressed me. Like, they've always impressed me. Like, when they first got put together and they were trying to feel out what Toxic Attraction was, I was kind of just like, it's 3 women that they maybe had no plans for apart, that they put together to see what they were doing. But Toxic Attraction has grown into something great, I feel. And these two are phenomenal together. And I think you send them to the moon. You strap a rocket to these 2 women and make them your WWE Women's Tag Team Champions. I'm going to say it right now. Put the titles on GC and JC. So then we had Sami Zayn and Roman Reigns in the back. This was interesting. Roman had like a security guard. And Sami walks up and he goes, hi, I'm Montreal's own Sami Zayn. And the security's like, oh, well, Roman Reigns has been waiting for you. He's like, Roman? Waiting for me? Who else is in there? He's like, he's all by himself. So Sami slowly walks in. And we see Roman sitting on the couch. Reigns wanted to know how everything was going with Sami. Zayn admitted, well, things have been a little tense. He noticed that, and so Roman walks away. Well, actually, first, Roman noticed that Jay's been yelling at him a lot. No, Sami said that. Zayn then pointed out that he took a claymore for Jay last week and didn't even get a thank you text. He said that Jay is ungrateful, but then stopped himself. Talking any more crap, I guess you could say. Reigns then agreed with Zayn about Jay, and the fans kind of popped on that. So Roman walks away, and his phone starts ringing, and Sami's like, oh, hey, your phone's ringing. He's like, oh, is it mine? It's my phone? Who is it? It looks like it's Jay. And Roman's like, oh, it's Jay, huh? Well, answer it for me. Answer it. And Sami's like, you want me to answer your phone? And Roman's like, yeah, answer it. Say what he wants. So he answers the phone. He's like, Tribal Chief, Roman Reigns' phone. Yeah, it's me, Sami. Going, Jay? Uh-huh. Oh, okay, calm down. Yeah, I can understand. Yep, I can tell him. What? Yeah, I got, okay, yep. So he hangs up the phone. Roman comes and sits back down. And Roman's like, what's going on? He's like, oh, it was Jay. He sounded a little hectic. So he said there's a little trouble at the border. Not going to be able to make it here to Smackdown. And Roman's like, oh no. Well, I got to go face to face with Drew McIntyre later on tonight. Well, at least you're here. What do you got going on tonight? And Sami's like, well, I only got a fatal 5-way to possibly become the #1 contender for the Intercontinental Championship. And Roman goes, oh, really? The Intercontinental title would look great in the bloodline. You should go take care of that. And then Sami gets ready to go to leave, and Roman goes, hold on, I got one more question for you. Still close with Kevin Owens? He's like, well, I mean, we've got a lot of history, and yeah, kind of, a little bit, I guess. He's like, oh, I want to send you to send him a little message to him for me. I don't owe him anything. Zayn then goes, oh, we ain't really that close. Nah, me and Kevin, we ain't really that close. Never mind. So, basically teasing that after Drew, the next person to challenge Roman, most likely gonna be Kevin Owens. January 2021 all over again. But the interesting thing with that is, unless things change and the draft is in early to mid-September and Kevin gets brought to SmackDown, that might be where we start seeing more, what's the word I'm looking for? More Roman on Raw. And I do want to say thank you to Conman 167 for the raid. Really do appreciate that. Let's give him a shout out here. Hope that works. I don't know if I have that set up properly. Nope, I do not have that set up properly to give the shout out, but I do want to say thank you to Conman 187 or 167 for the raid. Really do appreciate that one. And I want to thank all the new follows too coming in from the raid as well. Again, really do appreciate that. We're a little bit into talking SmackDown. We're almost halfway through the show, so you guys coming in at a perfect time. Again, thank you for the raid. Really do appreciate that. A little recap of what I thought of SmackDown as far as what we talked about. The Ronda thing was interesting, her getting arrested. I really like the women's tag title match as far as Toxic Attraction looking really well. And the Roman Reigns, Sami Zayn stuff was a really good dynamic. So outcomes, or in the ring, is Maximum Male Models. You've got Max Dupree. You've got Maxine Dupree. You've got Mansois and Marseille. You got them all in the ring. And they're starting to go off when they're interrupted by Hit Row. Well, first, Max starts talking. They get booed, and then Hit Row comes out. They make their way down to the ring. Dupree mocks Hit Row. And then Hit Row's like, yeah, we heard enough. And they dispatch of, I guess you could say, the heels. Maximum Male Models. He goes, hey, this is an advertised spot for Maximum Male Models. And he looks at, he's like, you guys don't look like Maximum Models. And he looks at Top Dollar and he goes, especially you, big man. And so Top Dollar and B-Fab and Ashanti the Adonis start doing this rap. And they're like performing. And I'm like, Well, A, I'm not a fan of rap, but B, this just didn't sound good to me. Because I almost couldn't understand what they were saying because you had like 3 different people and they were never saying the same thing at once. And I don't listen to rap music. I'm going to say it right now. I don't listen to hip hop or any of that. So maybe that's how rap and hip hop go, with like people saying different things at the same time and overlaying tracks and this and that. But to me, it just sounded like it was all jumbled up with, like, at one point, B-Fab would be saying something. She'd be doing her rap, da 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 da. And then all of a sudden, Ashanti and Top Dollar would be just saying something else in the background. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And so it's like, it sounds like muddled, right? And then Top Dollar would be saying something, and the other 2 would be going off in the background saying something different. And I'm just like, I can get it. I don't get it. And maybe it's just because I'm not the demo. I like the characters of Hit Row, and I like what they've grown into as far as where they started in NXT to where they are now and where they were before they got released last year. I will say that they grew on me before, but whenever they do the performances, whether that was the couple they did on NXT and now the one tonight, I've never liked those. And maybe that's just me not being a fan of rap and hip hop music. I'll admit it. I mean, my number one choice for music, you probably all know if you've ever watched any of my content and heard me talk, country music. I also like rock for the most part, and alternative. I mean, if it's not country, give me some like Matchbox 20 or whatever. I don't know. But actually, I like the song Unwell. I've learned that on guitar. I could play that. But anyways, yeah, the rap stuff just doesn't do it for me because that's not the kind of music I'm into or ever even listen to, like, at all. And nobody that I hang out with listens to rap and hip hop and all that kind of stuff. Like, people I hang out with either listen to country or, like, you know, 90s and 80s and sometimes 70s rock, what they call classic rock, I guess you can say. Like I have a group of friends that they all like classic rock. And I have another group of friends that they like alternative. And then I got my main group of friends that I hang out with country music. But it's like, it just didn't do it for me. I like the gimmicks of Hit Row, and I think they work really well character-wise. But when they do the rapping stuff and the performances, it just, I'm not the demo for that, so it doesn't do it for me. Primitive Lifeway says, you need more black friends. Hey, maybe I do. But to be honest, where I grew up, it was a 99% white community. I'm going to say it right now. I grew up in the mountains of California, just right under, or basically, if you've ever been to Yosemite National Park, that's where I grew up. 30 minutes from Yosemite National Park. I want to be honest, it was all white people and Mexican people where I grew up. I'm just going to be honest. We had some, black people in my high school, but not many. Not many. I'll just be completely transparent with that. But, like I said, the concert was whatever it was. It was okay for me. Not all that great, because that's just not my kind of music. In the back, Karrion Kross and Scarlett, there was a pre-tape. They did this whole thing about how Drew McIntyre is the chosen one. He was the chosen one, but he's no longer the chosen one because there's a new guy at the table that took his spot. And they're saying that he was pushed aside for Roman Reigns and this and that and da-da-da. I'm like, oh, okay. I like the way you say that. He was released. He was the chosen one. But when he got released, somebody else came in and became technically the new chosen one, and that was Roman Reigns. I liked the way they said that because I've never thought of it like that before. The whole Drew was the chosen one. Then he got stuck in 3MB and was no longer the chosen one, and then he got released. While he was released, a technically new chosen one was picked in Roman Reigns. I actually really liked the way that was, the message of that was put out tonight because I've never thought of it that way, but that's 100% what it is. Roman's the new chosen one, or at least was and became and now is just the one. We had a fatal 5-way match. This match was so much fun. I really enjoyed this match. It went 22.5 minutes. It was Sami Zayn. It was Corbin. It was Madcap. It was Ricochet, and it was Sheamus. And oh my God. So Sami comes out. I think he came out last, if I wrote this down correctly. And he's in his hometown of Montreal, Quebec, Canada. And you would have thought Stone Cold Steve Austin just showed up here. Sami got such a freaking pop. Then for the first like 2 minutes of this match, if not longer, you just hear the crowd, like it's just going off for minutes. They're just going nuts for Sami Zayn. And boy, did they try to make Sami Zayn a huge-ass baby face in this match. Like, oh, Jesus Christ. They tried to make Sami a big old baby face in this match. I loved the match, though. So everyone fought around ringside early on, leaving Zayn and Ricochet in the ring. Ricochet caught Zayn with a Hurricane Rana, and the fans erupted in boos because Zayn got taken down. Ricochet then set up for a dive, but Corbin hit a chokeslam for a near fall. Back from the break, Corbin slammed Zayn on the announce table to a loud boo. I mean, every time someone took down Sami, boo! Every time. Ricochet did a backflip off of Corbin at one point, but Corbin dropped him with the right hand. Zayn then tried to get back into the ring, but Corbin cut him off to, well, massive boos. The fans then broke into a loud "Let's go Sami, Ole" chant, like "Let's go Sami, let's go Sami, let's go Sami," and then the Ole, 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 Ole. The Corbin hits a back suplex on Sheamus for a near fall. Ricochet got back into the ring and started running wild. Fans popped for every big move Ricochet hit until, well, he drop-kicked Sami. Ricochet hit a standing shooting star press on Corbin and got a very close 2 off of it. Sheamus had a massive bruise on the side of his leg. I don't know where exactly that came from. Fans broke into another loud Sami chant. Zayn got into the ring, but Sheamus took him out with an Irish curse backbreaker. Sheamus then took over and gave the beats of the Bowdrin, the 10 beats of the Bowdrin to Moss, Corbin, and Ricochet for a huge pop. Sheamus then turned his attention to Sami, and the fans did not like that. Zayn recovered and ran wild to a huge reaction from the crowd. Zayn then hit a flip dive onto Corbin and Sheamus to a gigantic pop. Fans broke out into another huge Sami chant. Zayn then hit a Michinoku driver on Ricochet for a very close 2. Zayn with her for the haluva kick on Ricochet, but Moss cut him off to an echoous chorus of boos. Zayn then hit the blue thunderbomb on Moss and got a near fall off of it. The crowd just eating everything Sami Zayn does up. Like you would think Sami Zayn was the biggest babyface in all pro wrestling tonight. Zayn then climbs to the top rope, but Sheamus cut him off. Sheamus hit white noise off the middle ropes. Zayn grabbed his arm and rolled out of the ring. All of a sudden, referees and officials are checking on Sami. Back in the ring, everyone starts hitting their big moves before we go to commercial break. Back from the break, Moss gave Sheamus a fall-away slam off the middle rope. Ricochet hit a moonsault off the middle rope for a near fall. Cole then noted Zayn may have just suffered an injury and, well, before the break was taken out of this match. They did the big babyface thing here, saying that. Like this, we knew what was coming with that, but I didn't realize how big of a moment this was going to be. So Sheamus is running wild. He rocks Moss with a knee and gets a 2 off of it. Sheamus then went for the bro kick, but Moss counters it. Ricochet then hits the recoil on Moss. He followed this up with a shooting star press on Sheamus, but Corbin breaks up the pin. Ricochet then clears the ring. Sami then makes his way back out to the ring, and the crowd eats it up and loses their ever-loving minds. Zayn hits an exploder suplex on Ricochet and a haluva kick. Zayn seemingly had the match won when Corbin would pull him out of the ring. Fans hated it. Corbin went for the end of days on Ricochet, but Sheamus hits the brogue kick and picks up the victory. Sheamus will now be taking on Gunther at Clash at the Castle for the Intercontinental Championship, and boy howdy, is that match gonna be good. Sheamus versus Gunther beating the ever-loving dog piss out of each other. Man. And they're gonna be even more motivated being overseas, across the pond. This match was everything it needed to be times 55. I loved this match. Everybody did their part tremendously. Even Corbin. If you didn't see this match or missed parts of it, go back and watch it because this match ruled. Again, it's another case of Triple H telling the guys, go out there and have fun matches. Have fun in your matches. Do things you want to do. Not do things I want you to do, like Vince used to tell the guys. Like Vince would give them a template and they'd have to go with it. But also, I think it being in Montreal and those fans, the way they were acting to Sami, also took this match to another level because the crowd engagement and the crowd interaction with this match just made it. The match itself was still phenomenal, but I think the way the crowd was cheering and booing whenever Sami would do something, whenever something would happen to Sami, just brought it to another level. So, phenomenal stuff here. Phenomenal stuff here. But again, Sheamus will be challenging Gunther for the Intercontinental Championship at Clash of the Castle, and they really kept playing up. Now, I don't know if Pat and Cole know anything. I doubt they know the booking plans, but they kept playing it up like Sheamus is going to win and become a Grand Slam champion. The Intercontinental title is the only belt in this company that has eluded the Celtic Warrior. So then we had a pre-tape. It was the Viking Funeral of the New Day, and this was very interesting. I'm going to pull up a picture from this. So we hit the Viking Funeral. And Cole noted, we're going to show you some disturbing footage here. The Viking Raiders shot earlier today. In the footage, they hosted a funeral / like burial service kind of thing. This was very cool looking. And they set some New Day merch on fire, a box of Bootios and all that. But then we see this figure. We see this person. Who is this? Who do I think it is? Is Sarah Logan back with WWE? That's Sarah Logan, if I'm thinking correctly. Like, who else could that be? It ain't Ivar. It ain't Eric. So who else should it, could it, would it be? I'm 99% sure that's Sarah Logan in this pre-tape. Now, I don't know where this pre-tape was filmed, whether it was on the Roguesborg farm, whether it was filmed somewhere else, whether it was filmed up in Montreal, but putting her in there, but not showing her face, only teasing her, makes me believe that she could be coming back. That this could be the tease of the return of Sarah Logan to WWE, which I'm all for. And like I've said for a long time before she got released, why is she not with the Viking Raiders? Why is she not the female Viking that we need on the main roster with the Viking Raiders? So it looks like they've teased Sarah Logan coming back. And hopefully that's what this is, an actual tease and not just, we'll put her in this to put her in this. But I don't think they would do it just to do it. Now, maybe they would, but I think there is a reason she was in this video, because she most likely back. So next up, they recap Shayna Baszler injuring Liv Morgan, or further hurting her arm. In the back, they show Liv Morgan no longer with the brace on her arm, and she was interviewed by Kayla Braxton. She said that she'll do anything it takes to keep her title. Morgan then assumed that Schatzy will target her arm tonight. Go to a break, we come back, Morgan comes out to the ring, and then in the back, Kayla interviews Schatzy. She noted that Morgan made a mistake agreeing to this match, even though she's injured. She shouldn't have took the match so she can heal up for her match with Shayna, and now she's going to regret it. We had a 6-minute match that was pretty good. It was Liv Morgan versus Schatzy. I wouldn't say it was a great match or anything, but I said it was a solid match. I'll say that. I think the crowd was kind of like spent from that 5-way where they were just going nuts that whole time. So they were a little low on energy, I will say, when this match came around. So Schatzy had the brief control early until Morgan hit a middle rope drop kick. Schatzy recovered and hit a draping DDT on the apron. Back from the break, Schatzy was firmly in control and hit a tiger suplex for a near fall. Schatzy taunted Morgan, and Morgan heard enough and fought back. She followed this up with Oblivion and picked up the win. A 6-minute match. Not a lot happened in this match. Just some basic back and forth wrestling. After the match, Shayna Baszler would attack from behind, attack Liv Morgan, that is. She teased breaking Liv's arm. She kept saying multiple times, I'm going to break your arm. I should break your arm right now. And then she said, you know what? I'm going to wait and do it at Clash at the Castle. Baszler then kicked Liv Morgan in the face, and the fans booed. Correct, Hot Rod Bubba. I don't think Sheamus and Gunther have ever had a match together. Because Sheamus was in WWE when Gunther, started. Because Gunther, or Walter, started wrestling in 2005. I believe Sheamus was already signed by then to WWE, and they've never had a match in WWE. And if Sheamus was already, so Sheamus signed with WWE in 2006. Yeah, I don't think they ever crossed paths. So this is a first-time match that's going to be amazing. Next up was the main event segment. You see Roman Reigns and Drew McIntyre. Roman's heading to the ring. Drew's heading to the ring. He picks up his jacket, and there's Karrion Kross's hourglass. Roman Reigns and Drew McIntyre have their face-to-face. Reigns comes out without Paul Heyman or the Usos. Cole notes that the Usos had a problem crossing the border. They recap Brock Lesnar giving Paul Heyman an F5 on the announce table at SummerSlam and said Paul is still recovering from that. So the fans broke into a loud Roman chant and an Ole chant. Roman then demanded that Montreal acknowledge him, and the fans broke out into another loud Roman chant. Reigns responded to McIntyre's comments from last week about carrying the company and mocking Reigns for not showing up to work. Reigns noted that he's the only face of this company, the only main event in WWE, and the only person that carries the WWE on his back. Eventually, Drew McIntyre made his way to the ring. McIntyre doesn't think that Reigns deserves to be the champion. And I'm like, why? Why does he not deserve it? I can beat everybody's ass. Of course he deserves it. He shows it every week. Yeah, he doesn't show up for every Smackdown or the house shows, but when he's in there defending his title, he wrecks them. He said he feels that Reigns doesn't represent the title properly, nor the company. He pointed out that Reigns is alone and without the bloodline tonight. McIntyre then says he wants to fight in Montreal, and they briefly start to brawl. McIntyre then went for a Claymore on Reigns, and suddenly Sami would appear and took the Claymore instead. Reigns sets up for a spear, but as he goes for the spear, Drew hits a Claymore on Roman. Now, the fans popped big when Sami first showed up. They broke into a big Sami chant, and they still kept chanting Sami while he's laying on the ground. But then Drew takes out Roman. He poses with both belts. He did a weird pose where he's like, he got both belts up here, and then he crouches down. So he's like this. He's like, ah, and then he and he crouches down. He's like, I got both belts. And I'm like, okay. That's how the show goes off the other. The camera's like tight on Roman laying on the ground, holding his body and everything. And then like Drew behind him a ways, crouched down going, Yarg. So the whole storyline is going to be now, Drew can get the upper hand on Roman when he's by himself. That Roman on his own may not be enough for Drew McIntyre. Roman by himself may have met his match, may not be able to retain this title against Drew. So he's going to need to make sure that his Usos, his cousins, his brethren are there come September 3rd. But overall, a really good episode of Smackdown. Like I said earlier, it paced really well. It flowed really well. It sped through. And I liked everything on this show. Also forgot to mention, WWE did run a couple commercials for Monday Night Raw and noted that Trish Stratus will be appearing live on Monday Night Raw this Monday from her hometown of Toronto, Canada. But with that, guys, that's Friday Night Smackdown. That was everything that did take place on tonight's Smackdown. And now, I want to hear from you guys, and I want to know what you guys thought of tonight's show. Remember, you can let me know what you thought of tonight's Smackdown by texting in to 510-906-1341. Again, that number is 510-906-1341. But before we do all of that, we got to get to the poll. Gotta get to the poll. I really should have restarted and done another poll when we got the raid. But again, if you guys want to let me know what you thought of the show, you can do so by texting in to 510-906-1341. As far as the Twitch poll does go, 90% like Smackdown, 10% thought it was just all right. As far as the Twitter poll does go, 77% like Smackdown, 17% thought it was just all right, and 5% did not like the show. As far as the YouTube poll does go, 81% liked tonight's Smackdown, 18% thought it was just all right, and 3% did not like. No, 81% liked it, 16% thought it was all right, and 3% did not. Person says, I need a babyface Sami Zayn. Have me rooting for him in that 5-way. Person says, home run from start to finish. Person said, it was great. It's sad that Fox had lots of commercials because it will be... sad that Fox had lots of commercials because it will be great that at least SmackDown had 5 matches. Also, unfortunately, there were a number of people that didn't get to watch SmackDown tonight because, again, they were moved for the NFL. I know somebody tweeted at me and was like, I wish I could watch SmackDown. Fox is airing the Green Bay game right now. But as far as text messages do go, we got 2 so far. Person says, what will NXT Europe look like when it launches next year? I have no clue. Nobody knows. I don't even know if they fully know yet either. This person says, now that we're in the Triple H era of Raw and SmackDown, which show do you prefer? Also, where was Mandy Rose? Well, Mandy Rose wasn't there because she didn't need to be there. Honestly, I liked that Mandy wasn't there because I think Mandy being there would have almost overshadowed the performance of GC and JC. Because Mandy being there would tell us, oh, those are just Mandy's girls, Mandy's backup, Mandy's, what's the word I'm looking for? Not flunkies, but Mandy's hired help or whatever you want to call them. It would have made them feel second fiddle to Mandy Rose. Because if Mandy Rose would have been there and showed up with the NXT Women's Championship and all that, then it would have been like, oh, okay, these 2 women just work under Mandy Rose. They work for Mandy Rose. So Mandy not being there, I think, was the right call to make them stand on their own. Making them stand on their own. Yeah, the big Give It All says the sidekicks. That's a good word to use for it as well. It made them, they feel like her sidekicks. No, Entourage is a different thing, Magma Lord. Entourage is just somebody who, yes, people like an entourage would be like if, how do I explain this? An entourage would kind of be like Brandon Cutler to the Young Bucks, where he's there, he praises them, but never does anything, if you know what I mean. At least they get involved and do things. Because Brandon Cutler, he's just the guy with the camera filming everything and never does anything other than sometimes sprays them with a cold spray, but never helps out. Sidekicks is a great example. It's a great word to use. Yes, sidekicks. They're the sidekicks to Mandy. So I felt having them there on their own actually helped them stand out on their own and not just feel like, oh, they're just extra girls that fall under Mandy Rose. Magnum Lord says, what about Miz and the Miz Taraj? Those are sidekicks. The Miz Taraj name, is, even though it sounds like Entourage, works for, what Miz is in the Hollywood thing. But as far as what they were sidekicks. They were sidekicks. Because again, Entourage is people that follow you, always tell you what you want to hear, but then never really do anything for you. They try to do things for you, but never really do. As far as what show do I like better, Raw or SmackDown, they're the same. I think they're equal, and I think Triple H is trying his best to make them feel equal, to perceive them as equal. But with that, that's everything we got tonight for Friday Night SmackDown. I do want to say thank you for joining me here. If you're watching live, twitch.tv/PW Unlimited. Got to shout out Conman one more time for that raid. Again, really do appreciate that. Thank you, Conman, for the raid. And I also want to say thank you if you are watching later, whether that's YouTube or watching or listening later, whether that's youtube.com/Pro Wrestling Unlimited or podcast services all around the globe like Stitcher, Spotify, Google Pod, Apple Pod, Anchor, iHeartRadio, and so much more. So with that, guys, have a great rest of your Friday night. Have a great weekend. I know I will. I'm going to the lake first thing tomorrow morning before the sun even comes up. And I'll see you guys on Monday for Monday Night Raw. I'm going to tell you guys right now, there might not be a wrestling wrap-up on Monday because I have to go look at a new apartment on Monday. I'm getting kicked out of this place. They're basically like, oh, we want to renovate. You got to move. And I'm like, ah, crap. So Monday morning, I got to go look at a new apartment. So I might not be doing the wrap-up because by the time I get done with that, then it might be too late before I got to go pick up the kids from school. So, yeah. Might not be a wrap-up on Monday. We'll figure it all out. I will let you guys know either way Monday morning. With that, guys, have a great Friday. Have a great weekend. We'll see you next time. Have a good one, guys.